So hi everybody, welcome to this winter solstice message for 2022, where we're actually going to look at some of the messages coming through for 2023. So I felt really guided to do this reading on solstice. Well, reading, I don't even know whether to call it a reading. I suppose it's messages from spirit. So I'm going to be working with my white eagle medicine wheel cards, which have just been gifted to me by a lovely person in my life. So these are amazing. And I'd just done, for those of you that have seen my reading with White Eagle, Chief White Eagle, it's so interesting that as he has come into my life. So I have these cards and they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. I always wanted some spirit animal cards, and I know a lot of people use the Stephen Farmer deck from Hay House, and they're absolutely wonderful. I wanted something not specific. I just knew it was like missing out of like my card library, and then these came in, and yeah, as soon as I picked them up, they're amazing. So to those of you that don't know me, you're very welcome. My name is Angela, and welcome to my channel. And here I do readings. I do them as and when I'm guided by spirit. I don't follow a specific method or a particular setting of a time or a regime, because that's just not how it works for me with guidance. And those of you that have come to me for readings over the years will know this, that I will even say to a client, if the day isn't right, I will reschedule the reading. When the guidance will come through, it will come through for them at the perfect moment when they are receptive to the message. And it's, in some respects, I think it's to help them. There is an alchemy to it that I really trust with spirit. So yeah, so welcome to this video. So what we're going to do is I'm going to just briefly talk about the solstice for maybe a minute. Then I'm going to talk about the energy of this year that we're going into, which is a 7-year. And also, I'm then going to do the cards, which I've already pulled out. And we're going to talk about what the messages around 2023 are going to be. Now, just as a precursor, these are general messages. Like I say in all my readings, it's not a private reading. So not everything will be relevant to you. It's impossible to do a reading that's collective, that fits somebody's life as a divine prescription for them. That's just more magical thinking, and it's an illusion. So I just want to clarify that I'm very grounded, logical, and I'm half logical, half empathic. So the guidance has to work in a practical sense for somebody. And I think if we're trying to make things fit in our life, there's something that we're kind of running away from. And funnily enough, that is going to be a lot of the energy coming up for a lot of people in 2023. So with that, solstice, so 21st of December. So I'm in the northern hemisphere. I know some of you that watch me are in the southern hemisphere. So we are now welcoming the light back in. In the southern hemisphere, you are welcoming more the shorter nights, but I know it takes time for this to happen. But what I will say about this is, when I really tuned in for the solstice, is Spirit said to me, it doesn't really matter. It's the energies are universal, and they're also personal to you. So what they said to me was, this is a day to reset and recalibrate. And they showed me like all the energy lines being cleared, all the energy lines, and this is on the earth. It's an opportunity to open up new energies on our earth. But also, because of that, many of us that are working with spirit, and I know many of you that listen to my readings, whether this is on Facebook or YouTube, or you're listening from another route, you do this work anyway, or you're very aware of spirit, or you've got a practice, or you're opening up to this, and your intuition, is that it's like a window. Like they just showed me, it was a portal of where information comes in, where we start to see the doorway energetically opening in for the next few months. Now, everything is always fluid, even with intuition. So that's why times and dates, yes, some things very rarely can be spotted on a specific time, but that's because it's usually at the end of an energy line that's reached its point of fruition. That's the only way I'll describe that. So, yes, this today is a day to really work with spirit on the solstice, to reconnect and go within. So this is bringing up an opportunity to access wisdom. Now, we always have this, but it's more like a power day. It's a day that energetically many groups and communities mark as, say, like what I've just said before, the return of the light. And that's brilliant. We're going to see now longer days here in the Northern Hemisphere. So there's like a collective energy that almost clicks on this light bulb where they pause and they honour it, and their energy looks towards the light for that small period of time. Might even be for a few seconds, and somebody wakes up and lights a candle, or they send a message to a friend and say happy solstice. There's something about that collective energy of people acknowledging it opens up it opens up these energy lines, is what Spirit is saying to me. Right, so I'm just going to do a little bit of saging here, and this is just for my guides, and also if you would like to bring in your guides so that you can join me throughout this reading and you can tune in for you at this point. Why not? It's got, whenever you do a reading, there's got to be, it's not about getting things out of it for yourself. It's about receiving. This is what I love about readings, is they're about giving something, and you don't know what the outcome's going to be until you start. So there's almost like a magic and alchemy about the trust in the moment to receiving intuitive hits and guidance, which is also part of the magic of bringing in the healing medicine, the medicine in that moment. I've just got like ash all over the cards, but it's fine. We're not going for perfection. That's really important. We're just going for what is, to be real in the moment. So I'm going to use some of my Aura Soma as well. I like to put this on my hands. It's just something I use because I love the smell, and it's quite ritualistic for me. It just brings in this beauty of peace. Like, I don't know if any of you have that with like your senses, that you interact with them to bring in when you want to receive knowledge and wisdom from spirit. Right, so where we're going to start with the numerology. I've just got a cup of tea with me here, so I might pause just to have a little bit of a sip of a drink now and again. So we're going to work with the energy of the numerology for 2023. And this for next year is all about the number 7. So we've got 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 3. That goes down to a number 7. Now, 7 in numerology is all about going within, and it's all about opening up to spiritual awareness and development, and especially healing and knowledge, and accessing it from within you. So it's brilliant listening to people, whether it's teachers or gurus or readings or scriptures or writings, or the great teachings of the wise ones and the ancestors that went before us. But actually, it's not going to mean anything unless it resonates with a part of your soul within. So this coming into this next year, now the number 7 energies, when I saw it as number 7, even for myself, I was like, 7 for me, because I've lived in a 7th house, and it's where I did all my resting and my healing, which was so necessary for the next stage of the journey that I almost resisted the rest, because I thought, no, I need to get going. I've got things I need to do. I've got things I've got to get on with. And the number 7 energy of the home brought me into like this, like, it was like, again, another healing temple, a healing center, where I was really brought in to do this reset, which was so fundamental to my healing. And we're saying on all levels, like nervous system, emotional field, there's just so much to this that could be generally very much overlooked. So what I feel for 2023 is lots of people have this opportunity to heal. And we're talking about healing things like addictions, family ancestral lines, but it's doing it through developing their intuitive abilities and developing them to trust and use them every day in their lives. So I feel like we're going to see a lot of people that are going to wake up and have spiritual awakenings that we least expect. I also feel as well that a lot of people are going to come to this point where they're going to, I just can't do this anymore for money. And I know what's going on in the world, that seems very, well, how's that going to work? But it's so interesting that almost like Spirit said to me, don't wait till you're pushed to do your healing. You always get the opportunity to take that choice. And I think it's different camps for different people. That's something you cannot collectively tune into because everybody's on a different path. It's just like with your astrology. Like if you look at the chart of twins, they both will have two totally different soul paths. Even though they might have been born 15 minutes apart, they have a unique soul DNA that's different in their charts. And it's usually, astrologers who are very intuitive can spot that. Now, so this is a year of really, it's breaking the disconnect. So it's growing by realising the knowledge you've learned and found is not comparable to the truth and wisdom that you find within yourself. Using your intuitive self and your powers will actually show you this. It's stopping the need to disconnect by using addictions. So I think this is going to come up for you. I mean, you might see this around you because at the end of the day, an addiction is a way to mask pain or a disconnect in some way. It's a way to escape the disconnect because it's too painful, whether it's loneliness, whether it's just a feeling of emptiness, or whether it's just, something that's a person's battling with, which is chronic, lack of self-esteem. I mean, I'm always a big believer it's not just one size fits all for everybody. That's why people go on these courses and some people get results and some people don't, because this black and white thinking is not really going to work when it comes to healing. It just doesn't work. So it's building a connection to the divine within. And it's time to express, for some people that have already been on this path for a long time, you're going to be really, really busy next year. So this is what's so interesting is it's, again, there's healers are going to be called upon for their gifts and skills. And if you have these talents and gifts and skills, which are usually rooted and born out of your own painful journey, your dark night of the soul, you are going to be called upon this next year to help people, because the 7 energy is all about teachers creating their work for higher purpose. So the seven energy in numerology also rules like mathematics and like learning. So like going off to learn certain subjects. It's a very when I think of number 7, I always think of Virgo, and I don't know why. I always see the Hermit and I see Virgo energy around it. Now that's just me, and this is just what I get around this from Spirit. So it's a bit like when you go in and you go into, and everybody always, when you say this sometimes to people, they go, oh no, I just want to be out there and enjoying life, because I get it. But actually, those of you that have been on the healing path for a long time actually crave that introverted time within. 7 is a number of introversion. It's a number of really sitting with spiritual teachings and knowing where this resonates for you. It's really associated with analytical thinking skills as well. So I think there's going to be a bit of a break for some people of where they're over-analysing how to do something in their life and they're realising it's not working. So that's some of the energies that I got around the number 7. What else did I get? I feel that with this energy of the 7 also, there's going to be this desire for spiritual enlightenment as they start to wake up and question events in the world. This is naturally going to drive them within to seek answers to deep questions that they have, because they're not finding what they need outside of themselves. It's like that drive gets lost because it's not sustainable. It's always about, you see this a lot. I don't know if any of you have gone through this, where you might be young and you get your first job and you buy your car and you buy your house, you have a family, you do all the things that life and social, you could call it conditioning, and that's not for everybody. It's not for everybody to go down that pathway. So you might get all these things and you get to the point and it's like you reach a precipice and you're like, well, what was all this for? I'm not feeling any better. I've got things, I've got everything that I need. Because really those are just outside sources of happiness. And I think this is what the introversion of the 7 energy is bringing. It's bringing that gift. Because actually, once you build that connection to your divine, whether that's, whatever you believe in, it feeds you and it brings you back to center. So no matter what's going on in the outside world and whatever events are occurring, it's your inner dial which will always bring you to your center of truth. So you can't really be swayed or corrupted or bought, or, it's a lot to do with this sovereign energy that we've been working with. And I feel that this is the answer to a question that a lot of people are having, because they're looking to outside sources, whether that be their institutionalization, their governments, their, people that act as a guru, whatever. And there's only so much you can listen to that when you have to bring your own authority back to, well, what is your authority? Who gets to decide and say to you what's true for you? I can't say that. The government can't say that. That's up to you. So I feel like this waking up energy is growing and growing. And what it is more people are finding outside of them what they're hearing. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't sound right. It doesn't fit. They're waking up their intuitive instincts, those that have been dulled down by traditional schooling, pharmaceuticals, media programming, and social conditioning. And again, there's no mistakes with this. That's been part of the learning here on Earth School. And this is going to be like epiphany moments for people. And it's going to be people that you'd least expect. I also probably should have opened up with this, but when I asked Spirit about next year, they said it's the year of disclosure. So we've already started to see this with social media. There's lots of disclosure being made online on one of the social media channels. But what we're going to receive next year is there's going to be a lot of disclosure that's so clear and is very out there. It's not going to be disclosure that we can hide from. I'm not saying that anybody is here, but we know that there's a lot of people that do have their heads in the sand about some of things going on in the world. There's also a lot of people that have been, I don't want to use the word tricked, but there's a lot of illusionary concepts and supposed events that we've been told are occurring, say coming up with nature, which actually they're not being questioned. It's almost like, well, who's the authority on this? Well, we've just been told this is going to happen and that's the way it's going to be, so we've got to prepare. So be prepared for disclosure this year. But again, for those of you that have done the work, you've gone in and you know who you are. So the 7 energy teaches you to really not fear the shadow work, not fear the shadow side. And this is what's going to lead me on to what I would say the energy of the year. For the Chinese astrology, which happens around the Chinese New Year, is like just towards the middle to the end of February. And we're going to be going into the year of the water rabbit. And actually, I'm going to get the rabbit card from these. Now, the rabbit card didn't come out in my cards here, but I'm just going to pull up. Oh, there it is. I'm just going to pull up the rabbit card. And I'm going to talk about the rabbit energy, because this really ties into everything else I was getting intuitively from Spirit. So the rabbit it's a card of peace. So again, when we go in and we do the real inner work and the shadow work, actually the gift of shadow work is inner peace. But the thing is, when you're about to go in and face the shadow, or whatever it is, the practice that you do or the healing that you need to look at within yourself, is that rabbit can be a bit like, what the rabbit medicine for me is saying is, it's not the time to run away from problems, but to go within. And you'll find, what I heard from Spirit is, you'll find, interestingly enough, that many of the origins of what it is that has been maybe compounded, or it's been like, sometimes we have that thing, or that it might be a behaviour. For some people it will be around behaviours and possibly addictions. And actually, if you go back in and trace the origins, you will most likely realise that they're not from you. So this is in the element of water, which is feelings and its emotions. Again, our water is our feminine, intuitive energy. It's also one of the most powerful elements. So again, this continuation of water in our world, we are going to see this in our weather. So water events, that's not a prediction. I think that's just the way that this is moving. As our energy shifts, Mother Earth shifts also. We're all doing these big shifts. So water obviously has this cleansing action, but the power of water and the ocean is just incredible, isn't it? So I feel there are going to be things coming around this. But again, it's about clearing the waters, isn't it? So it's clearing that emotional field. So I feel that people are going to seek out much more alternative forms to healing. I feel there's going to be medical technology changes as well, and much more alternative forms of healing are going to be called for. So healers are going to be busy. So I feel like for those of you that I mentioned earlier, that you have your own healing abilities, that you have actually, your gifts and your talents have been born out of your journey, be prepared to work and be sought out for your work next year. And I think what Spirit said to me earlier was that this is why you've been doing work on your boundaries over this last few years. So you've been really balancing out the work-life balance, how your energy is balanced within you in order to channel Spirit in the right way. You've probably been looking at how you deliver your service, and maybe honing your gifts, and maybe been practicing in the background. And I feel like for a lot of people who are teachers and offer some form of healing modality, whether it's that you teach, it doesn't have to be in alternative medicine, guys. It can be actually in traditional medicine as well. But I'm going to say this, that I feel that a lot of the traditional medicinal methods are going to be not sought out because they're not as accessible. So people are going to be looking at... So I kind of heard that, we're having this crisis at the moment in the UK with the NHS, but that's every year, access to healthcare now. And, we have an amazing service, but the service hasn't been looking after their staff. And I'm not saying the light workers, the people that really are the real healers and carers in that service, and there are hundreds of thousands of them. But we're talking about the people that are the service to self, that are just the fat cats that want to skim all the money, that are pulling out these big contracts. They're not looking at the longevity of the service. They're actually looking at the quality of their staff and how their staff are. And actually, as I came home today, I was listening to a paramedic talk about his experience and why he's gone into a certain other section of the healthcare service, because he was a frontline paramedic. And he said every day it was more and more cases, working over hours, and most of them do 12-hour shifts, which is, anybody who's done a 12-hour shift, it's exhausting. And he said his partner noticed that he was having nightmares. He was struggling to reset after work, because obviously their adrenaline's on the go all the time, and nobody can work like that forever. And all I'll say is it was very interesting, and it's not the only person I've heard talk about this, how they're getting physically and mentally sick because of the pressures of their job. And it's forcing people to leave. So there is this this need here where, all this lip service of policies and processes and procedures, but they don't mean diddly squat if we're not going to behaviourally embody them in our work, in our value system of the environment that we work in. And this is the thing, I think a lot of people are waking up to this, and they're realising that their job or their lifestyle is contributing to their discord, whether that's their mental health, their emotional health, or their physical health, and they're going to do something about it this next year. And we're seeing this in the UK at the moment. And Spirit wanted me to just briefly touch on this because it's a really good example of how this is playing out. So instead of actually doing anything about it and listening to the staff who have been there all along and have kept the service going and have had their kindness and their generosity actually taken advantage of now at this point, they're all just blaming each other. And this is a problem that has been inherited. It's like a snowball that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's got to breaking points. So the thing is, this is the thing about people that work in the caring business, is that they reach their breaking points too. And there is this realization that, they have this awareness of, and this is what a lot of people are not seeing in the UK. A lot of people are, though, that the spin and hype, it's very manipulative, that they actually are blaming the workers. They're blaming the workers for the problems, which is just ludicrous, actually. If you tune into things spiritually and intuitively, you get your answers. And I think a lot of people are realising this. They're going to wake up to this more and more and more. This is what the wake-up process will actually force people to do, sometimes uncomfortably so. And the thing is, there are solutions. They might not be comfortable and they might not be easy, but we have to start looking after people, but doing it, not just saying we're going to do it and throw policies which are just really band-aids to make it look like we're doing things just to stay in power and do what we need to do. Now, so this is all going on, but I think what it's also doing is this whole process is going to force some people to look at their health, where they can take back the power and the health. Now, not everybody can do that, and I understand that. I'm not here to produce a solution for everything that Spirit is saying here, but it's just an example where that squeezing of that energy of that situation is going to bring people together. Like we've got, where I live, we've got people offering to take people to hospital for routine appointments on our neighbourhood app. People are going to, offer to drive them, and they'll probably just cover their petrol. It's amazing how it will bring people together. But also, I actually feel that a lot of people are going, right, okay, this is not sustainable for me. I need to look at what can I do myself to help myself. And I think this is I'm just seeing a wave of energy moving forward around this over-reliance on our health service, when actually there is a lot that we can do for ourselves. And actually the health service should be for emergencies and emergencies only. And for the true vulnerable in our world, that's what it was designed for. That was what we all invest our taxes and our money in for. So I think there's something coming up around this, that this drive towards a non-allopathic way is going to become more and more important as we move ahead. Right, now, before I continue with the other areas that Spirit have just talked to me about, I'm going to look at the cards now, guys. So we're going to work with these White Eagle Medicine wheel. So I've just got my cards ready. So the first card that we've got, so this is for, I heard that this card is for the energy to the animal medicine to work with this year that's going to really help us. And the horse came out. Actually, the cards just started flowing out before I even realised I was doing this reading today. It was just like, I was actually going to pull some cards for myself, and then all of a sudden the cards came out. I was like, right, let's start. So the horse card is about power, it's about energy, and it's about movement. So what I heard with this card is you have the power to move energy, but move you must to change it. So it's about no longer being fenced in. It's about travel, it's about expansion, and it's about expanding your horizons to connect with new people. So this rabbit energy for next year it's going to be like looking at where maybe our addictions are, origins of addictions. Now this is for people who are really struggling with the addiction archetype. So they've come in to learn this. They're probably going to wake up this year, and more people are going to wake up to realising that they can only heal this in community and they can't do it alone. That actually a source of their pain is their isolation. And actually they're going to find their people this year, but it's opening up to be willing to no longer be fenced in by the way that they're doing things. So the message on this card is ride the winds swift and free, living life as it needs to be. So the message with horse is, they're saying with Native American spirit animals, it is our ancient native tongue. It was called the super dog. Okay, so horse represents the qualities of power, energy, and movement. It is no accident that we still rate the strength of our automobile engines by horsepower. It's interesting, that, isn't it? So it's the free spirit of the wild horse lurks within the most docile pony and demands our respect. So when horse agreed to carry man on its back, the whole concept of travel and communication changed. It transformed our Native American nations from being slow-moving nomadic groups into powerful mounted warriors. Horse represents the power of the tribe. There was a time when not to have one meant certain death. So this is like not having a horse. Its value became supreme, not least for its ability to carry burdens for great distances. Watch carefully. The way to link with horse's spirit is to blow gently into its nostrils. Like this, horse is like the wind. Its medicine is speed, endurance, power, and freedom of spirit. However, it also shows us the responsibility that freedom can bring. A mounted human as one with horse will experience what it feels like to be a four-legged creature. Because man and horse evolved together, horse has become part of our lives. It has woven itself into our dreams, our visions, and our mythology, such as Pegasus, the winged horse of the Greeks, for example. If you encounter horse in your dreams or visions, be sure to take notice. So this is about taking possession of your power back over your little self, which can be also known as like your ego. And it's about knowing that true freedom is only found within, and you already have the strength and endurance to live your life as you choose. And this is what I think the message is for next year, is that I think there's going to be 1 month it's up, then it's down, up, down. So the energies, there's going to be massive waves of change coming in as more and more people wake up. So this is where you take back your power and you stop being fenced in. It's about freeing your spirit and knowing when to run wild. And if you've been too wild and irresponsible, you now need to settle down. So that's the energy of the horse spirit. And this is what we can work with this year to help us navigate the year. Now, the next two cards that came out together, so I can't even pick these up, are the ant, which was interesting, and the otter together. And what I got told by Spirit was that these are the two energies that a lot of people are going to be working with next year. So they're going to be working, I don't know if they're going to be whatever they're working through, but the ants and the otter are going to be at play here. So I know we're working with the energies of rabbit throughout the year, but I feel like this is more what we're going to see, how people are going to be approaching matters in their own lives this next year. So I'll start with actually, what should we start with? Should we start with ant first? And I'll move on to otter. So the ant is about calming down, okay? It's the benefits of calming down. You see, the seven energy is all about going into the inner castle, the interior, and just regaining that sense of calm and composure. Like, learning what it feels like to just be at peace and to be able to sit in the peace and regain it. You know, like when people are constantly on that adrenaline, like I was talking about the paramedic before, it's always on the go with adrenaline, and actually not realizing that it takes a while to counteract that energy. Like no one can be on the go, because it's also a trauma response, that to be on such high levels of adrenaline, in the end your adrenals will just burn out. So physically your body is not built to operate that way. So it's about focusing your energy in an orderly way. So, you know, like ants are like, they work together, and the things that they carry, and it's like you see what they carry on their backs, and there's like hundreds of them, and you just think, oh my God, how do you do it? But they're really orderly in that they know where they're going to, they know where they're coming back to, they work together, they're like part of a massive community. And they work diligently and patiently. So this is about learning to be patient with yourself and others. Again, the 7 energy is that nothing is going to be solved quickly next year. So say you are going into, I don't know, therapy, or you're working on a specific aspect of healing your trauma in your life, because this is going to come up about clearing the bloodlines. It's going to be a really powerful year to do it next year. Some of us, we've already been doing this. We've already done the work in this arena. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be called upon to help other people. So the medicine that you took now becomes the medicine that you teach. So where we may have had a fear or a lack of trust, Ant is asking us that hard work, cooperation, loyalty and service to the whole is how we're going to move forward. So again, the answers to the things that we're working towards healing in the world, they're not going to be done alone. They're going to be done as an effort towards work as one together. So patience and love, accomplishments done, contentment and trust yours to provide, consistency and commitment, others will comply. So again, any of you that have done these, you know, healing journeys, or you've gone around the medicine wheel, or you've done 12-step, you actually can't force the process. You have to develop this interior intelligence that's divine kicks in, and you follow the process and you trust it. And because what happens is the healing that you do is everlasting. It's not like an overnight fix, or again, this is where like the world of hacks and listening to shorts, they're brilliant and they're really inspirational, but it's not what heals us long term. It's not what undoes and unlearns the conditioning that we don't need, that actually isn't ours, that's been woken up when we're willing to give the time and energy to look at it. So if we look at Ant here, so I'm just going to look at maybe some of the messages from the book here. So it's saying that ant societies have found that they are constituted into different tribes: warriors, breeders, farmers, herders, builders, parents, workers and overseers. Each tribe knows its function and performs its duties with total loyalty, thereby ensuring the health and survival of the whole colony. Each ant also serves the queen, and all work is done with great industry and determination. Ant is also a planner and builder, patiently working to complete each task however long it takes. So it's saying that important teaching is that of patience. You will get there in the end, even if you have had to do it without, you have to do without for a while. Trust in the universe, it will provide. So I feel like this is taking time to build what you want to do and not to rush. You can't rush with a chaotic and unprepared fashion, or maybe you've been impatient with yourself. Give yourself time to grow and experience to the full. So there's like an embodiment, just like today is a day to just allow yourself to sit in the energy and see what comes to you. Like, what are the messages on the wind from the Great Spirit? You know, are you even able to allow yourself to do that? And again, a lot of the time, people will make excuses, well, and it could be somebody else or something else. And we have to look at that. We have to look at why we put blocks, and we put self-imposed blocks on why we can't heal and why we delay our healing, because that in itself is a message. Now, what's interesting is the otter energy. When I looked at this card, I just got equilibrium. I got balance, the balancing of the masculine and the feminine side. So otters, again, don't do things alone. They are all about, they move together in a group, don't they? Like a lot of animals. Like, what I love is like the animal medicine is that we look at what the message that the animal brings, the spirit animal brings, and then we apply the medicine of that animal. So what is the strength of that being, that sentient being? How do their traits and characteristics were being shown as a messenger to embody as part of the medicine for healing. So the otter, it says here, play with the laughter of life, bring children's joy to the fullest height. Otter remembers inner sanctum, a gift, innocence so pure shelter souls you lift. So again, this is like, it's about going, it's finding your home in you, okay? Now, otters live in land and on water, don't they? You see them a lot, and they actually fall asleep on water. So they have this, I think what they do is they sit together, don't they, and they hold hands so that they attach their feet to something at the side of the shore, whether it's a leaf or something, so they won't sail away into the water, which is really cute. And they will sometimes attach themselves to each other, and that's again, so they don't drift away. It's very, very cute. So this is all about feminine energy, embodying feminine energies. It's, let's have a look here. So Otter teaches us to share beauty, fun and play and to interact with others in an open, easy and relaxed manner. Otter reminds us of the danger of becoming too rigid in mind, body and emotions, or lacking in generosity and openness. Oh, this is brilliant. And you'll have to trust me on this, guys, but I didn't even know this. I hadn't read the book on Otter until now. It says, Otter swims your way. It brings you the gifts of feminine wisdom and the ability to balance and honour both sides of your nature equally. The feminine essence teaches you to trust and to be receptive, not only to new people, but to new ideas. Use feminine intuition to guide you to the heart of things joyful and generous. Otter tells you to give and be kind to yourself and to take the time to rest and play. Life is not meant to be so serious with nothing but hard work and acquisition. So what Spirit is saying is these are the energies that many people have the opportunity to learn how to heal from. So this is where the healing lies, in embodying these qualities on the physicality, on the day-to-day and how we approach things. So this is also about friendship and companionship. So this is, again, it's clubs or groups who will stimulate your interest in something new or different. So this is the connection to new people. And I feel this is, again, to do with this 7 energy of going in and this great healing that's going to be so available to some people that need it. And it's going to be in their community. They're going to be connecting with spiritual communities or like-minded souls. It could be sports club. It could be your yoga centre. It could be your choir. It could be your golf club. It could be your daycare centre. It's somewhere you're going to go and you're going to open up to meeting new people who are welcoming, who are loving, who are kind, who are seeking the same, which is connection. So again, this is the message to, be brave, to break out. The horse is majestic. It's like this is your birthright. Honour that energy of the horse. Refuse to be fenced in by whatever it is that's held you back previously. Maybe it is that you need to break free this next year and start saying to people, actually, this is what I really do. This is what I'm, and offering your work and your services, because I think for some people it will be the year where they will break free and they will stop holding themselves back. in some of their gifts and their talents that they're meant to come here and share on the earth plane. Now, the next section now, where are we up to with time? I'm just checking. Not even looked on my little camera here. Is it 37 minutes I'm up to? I'm up to no longer 45 minutes. Right, we'll keep going. Right, so now we've got on here, these are the energies that are going to be working with us. But this is the guidance for 2023 from Spirit. So this is the guidance of what to work with. I'm just going to move Rabbit there, and I'm going to move these up here. So we've got Sun Dancer, we've got Dragonfly, and we've got Cougar. And actually what's interesting is this is like almost like the guide card, Sun Dancer. All the other cards, they're not all spirit animals in the deck, by the way. We have other attributes, whether it's there's like apprentice levels, there's also student level, and then there is elder level. And the Sun Dancer is a student level. So this is like what the guides are coming through, and they are actually guiding us. This is their guidance for us for next year. So the Sun Dancer is a grandfather a tribe card, and it is Lakota. Sorry, I don't have a proper card holder, but look, it is what it is. And this is, the gift is Eagle Whistle. Okay, the eagle whistle in the wind, dawning era will begin. Offer tributes, dancer of the sun, abundance fulfillment will be done. And this is the Sun Dancer's grandfather's message, and I'm being told I've got to read it out fully. Okay, so I'm just going to get the book and pull that up. Okay. They're saying this that they're going to try to block out the sun, and you mustn't allow it, whatever that means. You keep the sun alive. It's actually one of the most healing attributes we have on this earth. The power of caring is a great gift. Asking for something that will help others and not yourself, my friend, is the message that you have come to hear at this time. I bring you the gift of compassion and endurance. It may be time to give of yourself or your loved ones. Bring peace and harmony to your environment. Considerable sacrifice may be involved, but it will bring meaning into your life's purpose. At the end of the sun dance, there is great feasting, a symbol of abundance and of prayers answered. So take this eagle whistle. Through it, eagle spirits will carry your breath and your prayers to the Creator. If you find the eagle whistle reversed, now we didn't, none of the cards came out reversed. So this is about caring. So this is about keeping the sun dance alive in spite of all the laws. This is brilliant. It actually says the sun dancer prepares for a year ahead. We offer ourselves for the healing of Mother Earth and to bring peace and harmony to all of creation. This is why today was the right day to record this reading. The sun dance may be a 12-day ceremony which includes 4 days without any food or water. We begin with the sweat lodge for healing and purification. Our pipes are filled with tobacco, prayers to give us strength and reaffirm our commitment. We dance from dawn till dusk to the 4 directions and to the tree. We blow our eagle bone whistles continuously, sending messages and prayers to the Creator while we gaze at Grandfather Sun, bringer of warmth, hope and life for the people in the land. So again, this is like whatever I think this is a message as well from Grandfather Spirit, that we all have like a grandfather in our life in heaven that looks down upon us, even if that's God, our Creator, whatever you believe in. But I also feel there's a message here to bring in this light, to be receptive to bringing light into your life, and also that your healing can be filled with light. It doesn't have to be like miserable, because the dragonfly and the cougar, I think they're going to be very different energies here, but this is the medicine that Grandfather is bringing through as his guidance for us. for 2023. So the dragonfly is really, really interesting. So this is what I heard with dragonfly, which was being adaptive, so being flexible, learning and growing, changing form, moving away from trapped illusion. So where we've been told something has to be like this because it's like this, actually no, it doesn't. So it's letting go of rigidity and programming. I thought that was really interesting because I feel this in the book it says mystery, illusion and self-deception. So it says dragonfly skill, adapting to grow, seeing all and learning to know. So there's just so much learning available next year. I think it's going to be a year where somebody's going to listen to this message and going to be like, no, I wanted it to be more extrovert, but it's actually quite an interior year. But actually for some of you, what this next year might be about is really breaking free from everything forever. Like working with the 7 energy, that's the gift of it, is the internal wisdom in the waking up of it. It's life-changing on such a fundamental level. So it says here, dragonfly is harmless to humans but dangerous to other insects. As a nymph, it lives at the bottom of streams and ponds, eating insect larvae. When it transforms into an adult, it displays amazing flying skills, catching insects on the wing. Watch this one. Its iridescent wings shimmer with rainbow colours as it flickers from sunlight to shade, creating a web of illusion that our eyes cannot follow. So I feel with dragonfly, what this is saying is, like the grandfather spirit is saying that people are going to be waking up from self-deception in their lives, okay? And there's a powerful magic at play here. And it's encouraging you to see the magic in everyday life as time is fleeting and make the most of it. But it's also about being open to change, especially to becoming who you are rather than who you think you are. Are you too rigid and programmed? It says here. Refine your skills to enhance material abundance. So this is what I'm saying about, you that have these gifts of healing, and it might be like plant medicine, it might be flower or essentials, kinesiology, physiotherapy, body work, whatever you're called to do, is that, get that sorted out. So, if somebody said to you, what is it that you do you know what to say to them? I'm not saying own it, but really embody it now. It's time to go for it, even if you think that you're not ready. And those of you listening to this, you will know who you are. So this is like moving away from self-delusion because it prevents others from seeing your true qualities. Leaving daydreaming behind. Begin again with the magic of life. Create it the way you want it to be, in harmony with the whole of creation. Don't stay so earthbound. Take flight. So that's the thing. Those of you working with the light now, you're going to be called into more public service. So let's work with the energy of Cougar. And then the last card is the potential outcome card collectively for 2023. Right. So Cougar's message is, and this is where I think the bravery, and again, we've got another eagle, haven't we, in the card. Cougars so fierce step away from the folds, turn the sheltered life nothing more to hold. Leader born strong in the heart, bringing pride to stand apart. So the Cougar medicine is leadership, stealth and assertiveness, showing us if we are in balance with our environment. Cougar is elusive so that we forget it's around until it's too late. It may be a bully if its territory is threatened, but otherwise it only fights to survive. Yeah, this is about power of leadership and survival, and to teach these skills to the young ones. Call on its strength for the qualities that you need and to review your personal beliefs about yourself. Develop your leadership qualities of truthfulness and of making appropriate use of energy and power. Do you know what I get with this card as well? Is that it's a bit like standing up for yourself, where somebody be like, oh, like, you tell somebody, you know, like, I'm a shamanic healer, and then they would start laughing, like they'd mock you because they've got a lack of knowledge and they're just masking by mockery. Well, then you just be like, yeah, whatever, you don't have a clue. Like, your wisdom will tell you that in the moment to not react. And you just move on. You move on and upwards, because you'll actually find that those types of people will often be the first that will call upon you for the medicine that you are able to carry in your lineage, in your bloodline, I'm hearing. So don't be put off or swayed by people that use that lower self way to communicate in order to undermine somebody. Don't be distracted by that this year, because we're going to see a lot of duality again this next year, with people that they're going to be struggling if they continue to keep their heads in the sand about some things. And it's their way of dealing with everything. It's this, again, this self-deception card, isn't it? It's waking up from self-deception. And so there might be, and I think Spirit is just sharing this with us to give us a heads up, not to take it personal, but to just step back. We don't have to engage with people that aren't ready for the medicine, because there's going to be plenty of people that are. Now, the outcome card, now this is amazing, because the buffalo card for me is all about sustenance. But, you know, the buffalo was the stale, it was like for me, again, it's another card of abundance. It provided for everything, for everybody in the Lakota tribe, didn't it? So buffalo. So this card says, buffalo spirit, gift of life, bring upon the comforting white light. Sheltered warmth, thankfulness we praise. Standing among us, hopes you raise. So again, the buffalo was revered because it provided clothing, it provided everything. It's the great provider. So this is about, what did I write down here when I looked at this card? Abundance from the land. So there's going to be a return to this, protecting this. Substance, and any changes come from the willingness to look towards the long term. Healing and nourishment is available to all. Time to let go of what's not yours. So again, those of you that maybe have walked the journey of codependence, of boundaries, of you know, learning not to rescue anymore, but to teach people to hunt and look out for themselves. You will be called upon this year to teach people how to be the sacred, how others can be the sacred giver of abundance to themselves. Yes, it says here, buffalo was a major source of sustenance, meat for food, hide for clothing, sinew for sewing, glue, medicine, fur for blankets, shelters, teepees and sweat lodge covers. Horns are still used as part of ceremonial headdresses. And again, there's the white buffalo calf woman, a radiant being who brought the sacred pipe to the people. The pipe represents the union of all life with the Creator. Oh, it's so beautiful. Buffalo's teaching is abundance, gratitude and prayer. It gives all of itself willingly, teaching us to share with all of life. When the great beast comes, you know that your prayers have been answered. Healing and nourishment are yours on all levels. That's what I really get about this year, guys, is there's going to be so much healing and nourishment for people that didn't think there were answers. They just thought they kept having to strive. Yes, it says buffalo's massive shoulders remind us to ask if we are carrying other people's burdens or taking on too much responsibility. Now, I want to say about this as well, that those of you like who have come through this kind of teaching element of not carrying people, because we know that we stop them from carrying learning their own soul lessons. It's a big part of the archetype of the wounded healer, is that we can't rescue anybody from themselves. Again, that comes with the addiction, where people are running away from their problems, which again, there's no judgment in this. There's no judgment with Spirit. The medicine is always available to whom will ask. And I think next year, we're going to get there's a real powerful element to it. But the healing is by going back within. Everything that everybody, runs from the most, which is facing the fear and doing it anyway, is the answer next year. Right, so lastly now, I'm going to cover some of the other messages that I got. I wrote these down. So this is, for many of you you've already explored a lot of this. You are now the ones others will call upon to seek help and support from. Your products and services will be in demand. Therefore, if you have felt guided to already instigate these changes, so maybe your career, or you've been on a bit of a swap over, and there hasn't been much traction, so there's not been much growth, or maybe you've not reached your clients, so you don't know where your clients are. There will be that growth in 2023, but you do have to take this leadership element. So you've got to, be brave. You've got to be visible is the word I'm hearing. What else? I'm just going through my notes here, guys, because I had to write stuff down as this started coming in. Right, let's have a look at this. Definitely much more seeking of alternative forms of healing and therapies. Right, now I did hear that, again, a bit like the situation of the last 2 years. I did hear this from spirit guides, but I just want to say that they did say to me, it's in situ. So there's not, I actually heard that this is being discussed at the moment and it's planned. That's all I'm going to say, but I'm going to deliver the message, and if you don't want to hear, that's absolutely fine. So they said there'll be a release of a new, not similar virus, but this time around a lot more people will question the origins of it. Instead of believing what they're told, this is where you see, the thing is, a lot of people, when they're very intuitively clear, they know when something isn't, they know when there's a manipulation at play. All I heard was this is being discussed in situ, and if there is enough, there's a chance that it may not happen, because so many people are waking up and they're discussing the origins and the way that certain people operate and how they respond to the questioning about origins of things. And that should always be your red flag. If somebody's not willing to investigate the origin or to look at why something has come to pass, you've got to ask, well, what is it that they need, that they've got to lose? This, again, it just smells of cover up is what I'm hearing. They're just saying people will start to question the origins and source of information and seeking out alternative forms of media. This is all part of the disclosure that's going to be coming out next year. More and more of it is growing, and this will be ongoing. There's also going to be a lot of disclosure that's going to shock people, and they are going to have possibly a response. And again, I think this is why the medicine is saying that the 7 year is going to call for people. They're going to need to go in and to do some self-care and self-love and some self-forgiveness, and almost like come out of this self-deception card. And it's going to take strength to say, do you know what? I'm willing to listen. I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to question when things don't feel right, because my intuition is telling me that for a reason. It's my instincts that I was born with. Why are they dulled down? Why are they not activated? I want to activate them. I want to have this strength. They're going to be building their spiritual muscles. I feel that we're going to hear from Trump again. I heard this on the world stage, and what he's going to share will be shocking. I don't know why I'm getting this, guys, but that's what I heard. I'm not doing this for salaciousness or likes. It's just what I heard. And I think he's going to come, people are going to see a side of him they weren't expecting, based upon the nature of the information he's going to share. Also around America, I feel there's a Supreme Court ruling coming, which will be shocking. And this is around elections and information around elections. I don't know what this is. I don't know anything about politics there. And I'm hearing it's as early as March. And I also heard you're going to see who was paid off, corruption. All part of the disclosure is the corruption being peeled off in layers. So this is more like earth-based now. The other thing that I heard was the scamming's going to get prolific, and they won't be able to keep control of it. And this is fraud online through banking systems. So it was about protecting and having alternative safe sources for your money, and not to keep it in one place. But I heard that last year with Spirit as well. I heard the interception of phone calls and data, and be careful of keeping anything online to do with finances. Again, guys, you've got to use your own discernment on this, but I always listen to Spirit. They got me to move home, a year and a half before this cost of living crisis, and it was just, and I don't know what, I just had this urgent desire to move, and I actually lost money to me. Like, I could have sold my place for a lot more money, but I sold it for what I felt it was worth at the time, because I just felt karmically that felt right for me, and my bills would have been double there now. So we're going to see more and more where money is being spent by financial institutions. So there's going to be a more opening up. So as much as the internet provides information, and I'm hearing what is misinformation can actually often be the truth, and vice versa. And this is, again, it's a lot to do with this dragonfly energy, this self. I'm not saying we're deluding ourselves, but where are we able to be deluded? And again, your intuition is never wrong. It's never wrong, ever. And it's your biggest skill. So we have to look at if there are certain processes and procedures and policies that are designed to, inhibit your intuitive nature, which is your natural nature. You've got to look at, well, why is that so? Also in the UK, I felt, but in US I heard martial law. I felt there was more imposing of laws to control people. So we're seeing it already in the UK with, they're going to try and bring out a law to stop people striking in public service. So they don't even have a right to like their grievance procedure. So people might slag off unions and whatever, but there's actually a protective element for the hardworking person in the country, because we need people in positions that are doing these roles, because they have such an important, vital role in society. And actually what they're doing is, this is the bit that people don't realise, is they're actually doing it because people's lives are already at risk, and they're speaking to middle managers and fat cat managers, and nothing's been done because they don't want to upset the apple cart, so to speak, in the actual business, in the structure of because it means they're going to have to change everything, and then they probably won't have a job. So again, there's a massive disparity between the service to self and the service to others. So people that are in it only for themselves, and people that actually can't go to work because they feel that whatever the policies and procedures are, they're not safe. So it's not just about money. So we're going to see there's going to be possible violence. There's always that chance to do things in a non-violent way, but people are going to try to fight back with this. But I'm hearing that a lot of this is planned. A lot of it is they're planning on the control element of people to react violently, so then they can say, well, this is why we need the law. But actually, there's a lot of hype and spin, and media is manipulated in order to elicit a response from people. So this is why it's really good to just I would say a lot of people over Christmas this year are being guided to just switch off the nonsense and actually just tune in and feel out stuff. And this is what I think a lot of people have forgotten to do, is stop being influenced from what you're being told and what do you feel. What does your intuition guide you? Put yourself in that person's position and what do you feel? And you'll get your answers. So there's more and more focus to support free thinking. So more and more groups and communities that support free thinking. Sorry guys, I just have to get that. Won't be a minute, hang on. Right, sorry about that guys. That was just the postman at the door. And ironically, it was an attachment to be able to plug in a light bulb for my nativity crib that I have in the house. I've had it since we were kids, and I always put it up every year because it reminds me of my dad. And it's just for me about the real meaning of Christmas. And as you know, I'm not religious, but I just love it because it's just, there's something really beautiful about it. So it's like I just think it's ironic what we were talking about there, and then a light bulb attachment. There we go. Hey, plugging in, having the right equipment to receive the light. Yeah, so as I was saying, I was just about to start upon this, like bringing in these laws and these restrictions, and I just think people are just going to be not very responsive to it in a way that they want people to be. Lack of conformity, because I feel there's going to be a focus to support more free thinking initiatives, and these are like social change organisations, but these are organisations that are built with like professionals, like lawyers, people that worked in, say, like the financial institutions or academia, and they actually want to highlight corruption and they want to bring long-lasting change, which is about supporting basic rights and protecting the Constitution. And I think that's quite a strong message for those of you in America. I feel like there's a lot of planning going on in the background. And I just heard UK strikes. The government is spinning stories already in the media for this. Yes, I'd wrote that down as well. So it's just basically a way to, again, when you're very tapped in and tuned in, you can't be bought off and you can't be paid off. And also, you won't necessarily just accept everything that you're told. You'll critically think, and you will, because also, again, with your intuition, it will guide you to do that. It's not always about being like poo-pooing things and going, oh, it's just love and light. No, you'll get a real feeling in your body when something's really, really off. But yeah, I think there's a disclosure around more and more we're going to see where public funds have actually gone. And I also heard that there's going to be lots and lots more positive male role models continuing to evolve. So I want to say a big shout out to the masculine energy out there, because it does get a lot of criticism. And I'm not one of those women that feels that's beneficial for us girls out there who really like, you know, the men out there, that protective element of society that continue to do that. But I feel that we're going to see more and more male positive role models who've overcome grief and, you know, depression, suicidal thoughts, sharing to help others. And these are people that are not doing it to virtue signal. I'm just going to say this, that I just heard that a lot of celebrities, which is great, they can bring, you know, exposure to certain subjects, but these are not celebrities. I'm seeing them more people in the sports arena or business, and they've come out the other side and they want to help people, especially young people, I'm hearing. So they're sharing more about how they got where they got and the pitfalls of what they went through, not in a way to stop people from doing what they did, but is a way to learn and grow and reshape people's experiences. Because in my last message, I think it was with Great White Eagle, I was talking about technology and how it's really affecting young people's brains, and it is. And this, again, it's been infiltrating schools for a long time now. It's why I don't teach anymore. I mean, because you actually see the difference in somebody's writing skills, and there's no point saying, oh, they don't need them because everything's on technology. But I don't know how writing a letter or constructing an email for me has been the difference of getting a job. I mean, when I got my flying job, I had to be able to have basic English and maths. But when you get into the point where people can't construct sentences because, you know, their pathways to learning grammar are just stunted, they're inhibited from the way that we're teaching children in a certain way. And I understand that some are very visual learners. I know I'm a visual learner, but then I need to practice it. But the way I actually realised that I learned anything was to write it down and to draw diagrams and to really engage my memory that way. Anyway, I know I'm going off on a piece there, guys, but I just see that there's more and more of these more positive role models that are coming into society. We've got a few disruptors at the moment that are bringing us out of this wokeism, which is really important, because this next year, what's really been woken up is the pathway to healing is not going to happen in victimhood. So actually those people who choose to remain, because it is a choice, in victimhood are really going to struggle next year, because the 7 year will guide you to go within, and that's most people that don't want to do the work don't want to go within. They want to blame everybody else or circumstances or world events in why their life can't be fixed or healed. And look, we all have those moments, but that continuation of that behaviour is it's actually not taking personal responsibility. And I feel like these new, more positive-based role models who are more real, so they're not doing it for virtual signalling, they're not doing it for their brand or their products, they're doing it because they actually genuinely care. I think this is what you're going to see in this 7 year. You're going to see more people that are coming out and sharing information, but they're doing it for the right reasons, because unfortunately what I see a lot of is very deceptive. It's like there's always, and I know, yes, it's great to help somebody even if they are coming from the wrong place, but there's also an element of lack of alchemy with that, because it's not coming from a place of truth, and it's not clean and clear, it's dirty. I know that sounds a bit weird, but energetically the work hasn't been done. So it's like, well, I'm just going to say and join the bandwagon and say, well, I went through this. But the majority of people aren't reality TV stars and aren't peddling products and services that they don't use to get money. Most people don't live their lives like that. That's not living, really, a consistent, authentic life, is it? Because it's still quite surface level. Anyway, some of you might think I'm judgmental there, but I'm just sharing what I feel, because there's a degree of authenticity now that's going to be called for moving forward. And I feel like with these groups for social change, they are people who have been in the system, incredibly intelligent and articulate and successful, but they're sick of seeing the same old wheel going around and around the wheel, and the same thing keeps happening. And they're realising that going through the traditional channels of what you would call like lobbying and all that, like, it doesn't seem to be working anymore, because what they're seeing, what people don't realise is, say in America, it's very corrupt. It's so corrupted, but people just go, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist if you say it's corrupted. No, it's corrupted because when the media channels are owned by the people that are behind the corruption and pay off to control the narrative, how are you ever going to get truth out there? Hence why there's going to be this desire for people to go on alternative media platforms, and you will have to use your discernment on there. because it's like the wild, wild west. However, I think for some people, once they get the hang of it, they're going to get liberated because they're realising that where they're at, it's quite, I wouldn't say vanilla, it's acerbic, it's controlled, and it's a bit like, everybody's in the room, but nobody's talking about the big pink elephant that's stood in the middle of the circle of everybody. It's that kind of energy. It's not really going to grow and create change, because it's like in a dysfunctional family. The whole part of being accepted and remaining there is that you are complicit in the dysfunction. So that the child or the family member that speaks up and out breaks the chain of the toxicity. So they get lambasted for it, or they get absolutely hoofed out of the tribe because they've had the audacity and the courage and the bravery to speak up and finally say the truth. So it's a bit like that. It's that kind of energy. And I think people are wanting to break free from that because there's only so much they can do in those communities. But I also feel that I think there's going to be a massive desire and a growth of men's groups coming up this next year. And I think the whole perception of them needs to be kind of released, that they are, people will say, oh, it's this or it's that. They've had powwows around the fire as part of the tribe. And I feel this is really important for men to get back to this for their own healthy masculine, for their biological and hormonal function. I think this is really going to come up this year. Just like girls need to be with other girls to build their healthy estrogen, so do men with their testosterone. And it can't always be down the pub or kicking a ball on a field, even though that's great for some people. Some guys need more. They need more. They need more than a surface level conversation to help them to process and evolve what they're healing at the moment. And I think this is what the rabbit energy is about, is that we can't just run away from stuff and think it'll just go away. There's going to be a massive opportunity for people who never even believed in healing before to heal coming up in this next year in 2023. Now, I'm just going to pull, and this is, I didn't realise I did this, but I pulled out my fairy cards. I thought I pulled out the Vision Quest, but I'm actually going to, let me just move, okay. I'm just going to pull out a couple of fairy cards. Well, no, we're not having all of those. Okay. Any messages for 2023 from the Earth Spirits? I know why this has happened, because I was talking about the fairies in my last reading with Great White Eagle. Okay. So for a lot of people, this is going to be about learning how to parent themselves before they become parents. There was something in the cards there before as well about when, was it one of the animals becomes an adult, they behave differently. So I feel there's going to be, for those people that are really stuck at an emotional point where they felt their past has been haunting them, they're going to break free from it this next year. They've got the opportunity to do it. Now, obviously, they've got to want to do the work, haven't they? This is just energy, but energy's there. It's not being interacted with until you participate with it. 2023, please. Any messages? Financial flow. Okay. I think this is just a reassurance to tell you you are going to get what you need. What's the message around financial flow? Look to the light for it. She's looking up at the sun, isn't she? Yeah, honouring your true feelings. So I think some people are going to be waking up to they can't work doing what they used to do. It's changed. Can never get these cards to stand up. Sorry, guys. I think there's going to be alternative routes to financial freedom that people are going to explore this next year, because I don't see the financial situation and the economy improving. I'm just going to be honest with you there. I didn't get any of that in the cards and any of my messages. I feel like it's going to okay. Yeah, I just feel like people are going to move in a different direction. You know, this working and working more hours to pay bills that cost more money. They're going to look at much more alternative routes to driving income, building income. And I feel a lot of people are going to be guided more and more to a lot of using, how can I say this? Using methods which allows them to still be in the world but not of it, if that makes sense. I've got to say this quite airy-fairy because I don't want the words to be flagged up on my video. Let's just say, you know, we're paying out for this and then a cut goes to this and a cut goes to that. I think people are going to realise how to do it in a new way, just like the top 1% do. There's going to be much more creative ways to making money, is what Spirit is saying. And we're going to look at, people are going to start looking at what am I doing this all for? And there's going to be solutions to this, but it's taking time out. That 7 energy is to go within and to listen and to be open to the creative support and solutions of Spirit. Because what they're saying to me is, yes, you can be an expert in a certain area, but the times that we live in call for different ways to be and operate that aren't necessarily from the mind, they're from the spirit. So they're just giving me an example, like, you know, you might do a reading for somebody and they know that they need to move, and there's something about the energy of where they were. It's like they're living in their old life. So where they are, nothing can manifest in their new life because it's like their actual physical action of moving shifts their energy, and then everything can flow in. Because actually, if they're honest with themselves, the energy and the atmosphere of where they live in the environment might feel quite blocked and slightly lacking in movement, like nothing happens in their life, nothing manifests very easily. That's always a big sign. When things are not manifesting, it's one of two things. It's because you're being guided you're being protected to stand still and to go within. So if you say you got the money, you got this and whatever, you go off here, you'd run off here and whatever, whereas actually sometimes to do the really deep inner shadow work, you have to be in one place physically. So you have to like stop moving house, you have to stop being concerned with all these like, you know, physical things that shift your focus from doing the work. And that can be uncomfortable for some people because they've spent their life being busy or being occupied, not only by their own stuff, but by other people's problems as a way to avoid their own growth and evolvement. Right, guys, I'm going to leave it there because I could sit on here and talk to you forever about and do cards, and it's about more spiritual teachings now. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it's brought through some information for you for next year. Again, it's not a personal reading, so not all of it is going to be specific to your life. I think it's going to be interesting to see what does happen next year, especially when it comes to politics. I feel there's going to be a lot happening in the States of politics. And I just feel like in England, more and more people are waking up to the fact that the political structure does not serve the common good in the country, which most people in the spiritual communities have known about this, that a lot of these corrupt systems have to show all of this, they have to fall apart, so we can start thinking and working towards, well, what can it be, evolve into. Right, guys, sending you all my love, and I will speak to you soon. Take good care of yourselves. Lots of love.